We have a packed program for tonight. A number of things are on the agenda. You can see we have an overview, an exciting note from the editor of Fraud Intelligence, and a few other topics that need to be covered, including Zotero. We're not quite halfway. We're over here. It's November 2nd, and you have just, or you're about to, submit your first draft, depending on what time you're watching this. This was our Module 3, our online class. I usually post it a little early. Submit your first draft, and I'm keen to read your first drafts. I have a more detailed set out over here. This is submit your journal name, and so this is coming up for a while from now. But at least for now, you've submitted your first draft, and for next week, submit the journal name, and again, it is a case of the name and why. We get back to our notes about professional articles. We're going to shorten this number in a moment. Why professionals should be motivated to read the article, and this is professionals as opposed to academics. AI could be quite helpful in drafting your summary, and just a draft, you should do the final product. This is from the editor of Fraud Intelligence. I'm going to say that you can pause the video and read it. I'm just going to look at the highlights. This is amazing. I'd be delighted to review and hopefully publish their work. I told him about our class. The topics are forensic accounting and fraud audits. He's actually now giving us a number of topics that they would be interested in. Psychological research, traits and behaviors, online threatscape, deepfakes, AI, deception, detectable, and might not be in the scope of a class. I'm always open to suggestions. If somebody has an idea for an article and just wants to check, I'd be happy to comment. These invitations, they don't come easily. And you can see here, 1,500 to 2,500 words. Otherwise, they would be inclined to splice it into 2. I hope something can work for your class. So what I'm hoping that you could do, you could either change your topic or you can already have one in mind. I would be happy to give you his details and to read it before you, in fact, even submit it there. When it comes to applied professional research, we start with a proposal as opposed to starting over here, which is the starting point for academic research. We have the editorial review, and this would be just amazing. You'd be ending up working with a professional. He would polish, he would comment, you would go back and forth a few times, and you'd have something that you could be justifiably proud of. This was one of my proposals. You can see the date near the top, 2018. You can see the title, and the title is using R, the application R, in audit data analytics. If you like, you can pause the video, see what you see on the first page, and already something should be jumping out as to why this proposal is problematic. Immediate reply. Mark, thank you so much for sending this in. I will take a look as soon as I can, but no later than Friday. And this is the editor of the Journal of Accountancy. This is amazing. A nice, quick reply. I know where I am on his schedule. Let's go and have a look and see right over here. Buried under so much detail. We need an article that focuses less on the minutiae of R and how it would help our readers answer the question posed in my previous email. Why CPAs should care about R, why they should consider using R, how would they use R. I made some notes below, but I stopped because it appears as if this is an academic paper being used as a proposal. Now, he doesn't close the door. What do you see as the next step in the process? Do you want to produce a first draft? Do you want to send me an outline first? Do you want to have a call? Just let me know. This is amazing, and this is not what you get when you submit an academic article. This was here, and you can see a fair amount of correcting and a fair amount of comments. At first you might think this is absolutely awful, all these comments. They only comment if they're interested and if they think this might go somewhere. So I'm going to get out of this right now and get back to the PowerPoint. Here we are. This was what we saw before. Too much detail and way too long. Where do you want to go? He's not closing the door. What I hope to do, and what I have in progress at the moment, is redoing exactly this, but not for R, for Python, my newest, most favored programming language. Not all is lost. You win some, you lose some, and this was the same year. You can see May 2018, right down there, round number red flags, page 36. And here we go, page 36, my article. Again, win some, lose some. You want to win more often than what you get rejected. That article was extremely well received. A while later, the next year, he sends the article is won regional honors, and he says this is the second article we've worked on together, and the first one won the Lawler Award. Congratulations on another award-winning article. These are letters that you don't get from the editor of an academic journal. I enjoy it, and I enjoy this whole process. It works well for me. Citation database. We're going to talk about Zotero before we're done today. I just have 2 words on the next slide. You can see them right over there. And let's see what Dana thinks. Dana who? Dana Hermanson. Kennesaw State University, chaired, full professor. His Google Scholar page. I urge you to start a Google Scholar page. You will, of course, have your name, your affiliation, a photo, and we can see over here he has 22,000 citations. He has an H index of 54, which is amazing. This means that he has 54 articles that have been cited 54 or more times. That's an extremely high count, and Dana is clearly in the top 500, in the top 20 accounting professors. You can see this is extremely nice. You can see assistant professor of accounting, then granted tenure, then professor of accounting, and then chaired professor. An extremely impressive trajectory. LinkedIn. 500 career publications. Well, he says career publications because they are not all refereed academic publications. And let's see about his note. 150 co-authors. So I suggest you get to know somebody like this, try to co-author with them. Even if you end up doing the bulk of the work, you will have a guiding hand, and a guiding hand that knows exactly what he's doing. You can pause again here. The university's philosophy of recognizing and rewarding so many forms of research and writing, not just publications in the top-tier academic journals. This is what you want. You want an institution that recognizes and values what you do. I wish more faculty had this flexibility. Let's see what he says next. I love writing, and I write almost every day. Therefore, this bit about daily writing, it's in the book. It's in one of my previous slides. It works. Let's see what daily writing brought for him. Journal publications. Now, while you might read Accounting Review there, and you might see 2026 forthcoming, this is an invited essay. So it hasn't gone through the peer review process. However, you can see CPA Journal, Accounting Horizons, Journal of Forensic and Investigative Accounting. I like that journal. You can see it has a number in there. Current issues in auditing. We'll talk about this later. And these are his most recent publications. He's still working hard. And the list goes all the way down to number 179. Extremely impressive. I've posted his resume in our readings folder. You can see it's 46 pages long. You can see his awards. It's all extremely impressive. It's doable to publish, and it's doable to publish a lot. It's up to you. And my other note is, try to co-author with somebody that has these capabilities. Even if you end up doing the bulk of the work, the guidance will be invaluable. This is still a review. Read journal articles. I remember reading that the Beatles, as good as they were in their early days, they would go and watch other artists in concert. They probably liked music, I'm guessing, but they wanted to see what others were doing. You need to read journal articles. You can't only write. Make writing social, and I'm going to talk about conferences in a moment. That's the way to do it. Focus on questions that fascinate you, but not just you. Also the editor, and for fraud intelligence, we have an extremely agreeable editor here. Your dissertation chairperson, and other professionals. But your dissertation chairperson might be the next hurdle in your life. Make writing social. This is a conference. This is where I will be next weekend. You can see the name of the conference, and you can see where it is. It's 2 days of all sorts of things, AI, and what else do they talk about here? AI, autonomy, and the future of audit. And I'm happy to say I'm here, and I am one of the Saturday speakers. This is my session. They just use the keywords systematic rounding down, and I will talk a little bit more about that today and as we go along in the class. We'll talk about it now. This is from 2016, and this was my Fingerprints of Fraud Numbers presentation way back. This presentation I started in 2014, and I keep improving it. Even though this is 2016, this refers back to 2012. The October Jobs Report, the last one before the US presidential election, will give candidates data points that can help or hinder them. This was the release. You can see the employment situation. The employment rate decreased, and they talk about total non-farm employment rose 114,000. My research paper looks at whether this number is rounded down more often than what it is rounded up. In other words, are they nudging the numbers? People have suggested that they are nudging the numbers. This is Jack Welch. I was right about the strange jobs report. So he is commenting in a few days later. This was released October 5th. He is commenting 5 days later, and he's saying, The 7.8% unemployment figure is downright implausible, and that's why I made a stink. And he talks about, here we go. The economy would need to be growing at a breakneck speed for unemployment to drop to 7.8% from 8.3% in the course of 2 months. So I care about rounding. He cares about whether the numbers are being fudged at a rather larger scale. And so I have been looking at this problem and thinking about it since 2016, and it's only earlier this year in August that I started writing and said, let's just do it. Get it done. So this is me next week or this coming week and Saturday 1:30. Oh, sorry. This is me last year, 2024, Python and audit data analytics. And I haven't turned this into a publication yet. This is me from 3 years ago at the same conference, Insider Threats, the Risks of Endpoint Access. And I'm happy to say that this study was published earlier this year. So go to a conference, get feedback, come back, be rejuvenated, work on it, and get it published. This week, what gets published? And you can see the other bullet points over there. Well, what gets published? One important new idea that is related to the scholarship previously published. I cannot tell you how many times in these classes I've had somebody that thought something up out of the top of their head. I just thought this up. No, you can't think it up. You need to know what has been previously published and work off of that, unless we're writing about AI, because that's a completely new topic. And for professional research, it's not so much scholarship previously published, but practice-related documents previously published. These could be standards, pronouncements, or other kinds of developments. I'm on page 62. One important new idea related to the scholarship previously published. If your idea is new, but not related to anything before, your article won't be published unless perhaps we're talking about something so new that nothing could have been published about it before. This is an example of something new. A new topic, critical audit matters, and so in this case, it wouldn't be related to anything previously published, but you might get something similar. This could be another new pronouncement or something that was introduced. You might relate it to that, something else that was introduced. I like current issues in auditing, and you saw that Dana Hermanson likes it as well. In general, I'm looking over here in this paper, we'll review 5 recent experiments. This is all very nice, but there is no research question. That is the problem over here. No research question in the summary. And again, early evidence, this would also be something that you might not have so much scholarship on because it is a new development. I just show you this because you have something called in brief, and for our professional publications, you're going to have not an abstract, but something that could be called in brief or executive summary. Read this carefully. Publishable article type number 2. A new pairing of old evidence with an old approach represents another good choice for novice authors. I am on page 64. I'm going to say, how about you look at this, you read it carefully, it's pretty good. And you can see it links evidence and approach that hasn't been linked previously. A new way to link things. Usually that's also called a joke. But we're not talking about jokes here. We're talking about publications. What gets rejected? This is on page 68. No research question or a research question improperly stated. And I'm also going to say what you might care about is a journal that has a huge backlog in getting things published. They're just way behind, and perhaps you won't need that in your life. I don't think anybody needs that. This is Journal of Accounting, Auditing and Finance. I like the journal. I have published in this before, and so has Professor Jack Dormany. You can see that this is online first. In other words, these articles have been accepted for publication, but not yet published. There's 47 articles in the pipeline waiting to get published. This number has been higher for this journal in the past. So you can see they accepted this on October 22nd, and it's forthcoming. But if I go to right at the end here, you can see this article was accepted June 7th, 2024. You know what the date is now. This is still in the pipeline, waiting to get published, and you might be at an institution where it only counts as a publication when it's in fact published. And that could be a problem. And I still don't understand what's happening here. This article accepted in 2015. It's now 2025. And it hasn't yet been published. Here we go again. The accounting review, as good as it gets. We have the question mark here, but we don't have a research question in the abstract. And when we finally get to a research question, it comes in the article way later. We formally state our hypothesis as follows: H, so this is hypothesis or research question, and stated as that. I would in fact prefer to see this stated as a question. If there are more than one research question, it would be H1, H2, H3. I prefer something like this: the review of accounting studies. Let's look for the research question. Well, it's easy to see. We have question mark here, we have question mark there, and in general, this journal likes to put the research question in the title of the article. A little bit further down, you can see, there we go, question mark. This is the research question. This one over here, no research question. In fact, it looks like an essay. And if we go into it in a little more detail, we don't see anything here. And right on page 6, the authors finally, in their introduction, get to 2 research questions, which is why we see 2 research questions there. If my memory serves me correctly, the author says in your first 3 pages, that's where your research should be. Page 6 is just too late. Argument defined. I'm on page 67. Your research question, we'll call it research question, on page 66. Right near the bottom, it says different fields use different terms for the same rhetorical move. Some use argument, others use thesis, hypothesis, or research question. We like research question. I'm going to let you pause, and you can read this in detail and digest it if you like. Argument tests. Here we go, and I am now on page 68. So you can test whether you have a valid research question or not. This one here, the gut test, means the answer should not be obvious. If somebody says, oops, I dispute that, well, you have a good research question off the bat. And puzzle answer, I'm going to let you read what she says over there. But an example of this would be, what is the largest prime number? And it wasn't too long ago that somebody discovered an even larger new prime number. And so that would have been a puzzle. Is there a larger prime number than the ones that we know? Yes, here it is. I'm not thinking anybody soon will be writing some mathematical type paper. Other tests. I'm on page 70 over here. A statement that is obvious. That's not a research question. If your research question is something along the lines of pollution is bad, too obvious. A gap in the literature. That isn't a question. That's not a question, nor is it a claim for significance. The fact that something hasn't been written about a topic is not a question. A statement that is a prediction, that is also not a question. The chapter is very good, and it's all about, do we have a valid research question? I think we're moving right ahead here to page 77. This is the author, and I think this is excellent. If you can fit your research question into that template, you should be what we call on a roll. Page 81. Other notes. I'm just reading what I've highlighted. Argument organized, and about 2/3 down, you can make a huge difference in your publication rate by organizing your article around your argument. Or in our words, organizing your article around your research question. Page 81, about 2/3 down the page. We move ahead, revising your article around your argument. We're on page 87 over here, and you can see about 2/3 down, revise your article around the argument. This process can take some real time, but if it's done well, this will cut down your time in the later chapters. There are certain sections in this book that are absolutely golden, and a number of the ones about the research question here are exactly that. Let's move on to a little bit of technology. Zotero, citation software. Zotero is free, and instead of me giving you a demonstration of Zotero, how about you can pause the video, take a photo of it, make a note of it, watch this video. It isn't too long. It's about 10 pages. And when you get 1.6 million views on YouTube, it's either very good or possibly funny. But in this case, very good. That might not be enough. You can move ahead here. And this is exactly the title. You can see 420,000 views. You can see, well, you can't see. He's South African, which means he might sound a little bit like me here and there. This is a little bit odd. You can see 2 years ago how to use Zotero 2025. Well, 2 years ago you would not have titled that. And so in fact what he's done, he's kept his old video from 2 years ago and he's changed the title to put 2025 in the title. I use it. This is my Zotero, and indeed it's a case of you have all your citations, you have all the details, you have it here, you have your article, and getting it from the article, from here into the article, it's reasonably straightforward. I think you will like it. Learning curve, not much is required. I draw your attention to this as well. You can see the website address at the top, Research Commons, Library WVU EDU workshops. They have workshops from time to time, and this is your research repository. You can have Scopus, that is a search database, but they also have something here, library workshops. I didn't think it needed to be clear. I just wanted to show you that workshops are upcoming. And we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and a few of them deal with Python. Have a look there. So here we go. Workshops. And at the bottom, view all upcoming workshops. And when you want to view all upcoming workshops, you get this. And you might find something extremely interesting. I don't know about interesting enough to come to campus to view it. But if they have an online option, you can do that. I've been to a number of them. They're pretty good. Module 4. This is for the week ahead. We'll have another class in a week from now. Abstracting your article. And indeed, what I care about is, and I showed you this earlier, the name of your target journal or journals. This is set out as an assignment. It's posted in that folder. Think of where you want your article to go. A really good answer would be fraud intelligence, of course. And so this is pretty much your only graded activity. Oh, and the textbook test. I need to make that visible to you. Again, 16 multiple choice questions, 60-minute time limit. Indeed, you did very well. I was happy with your results for textbook test number 1. Keep it up, and things will go well for all of us. Yes. Yes. The letter, my proposal that didn't work. Dana Hermanson, advancing your argument or your research question. Zotero, and what you have to do for Module 4, which is the textbook test, and tell me the journal name. I think we're done, and I will see you again next week. Thank you, and bye-bye.